Okay, I have had a very poor connection. And so I'm wanted to restream again. The connection issue, I don't really know what is going on with that. Right? There's like a little. Hey, what's up, Drew? Welcome. Hey, Samurai, 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 how do you say that? Samurai, Samurai. I love you too. Yo, 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 yo. What's up, guys? Hey, hey. No, hopefully not. Hopefully no knocking. I'm actually like, I'm looking forward to the day when I get rated so I can have conversations with the guys and try to like inspire them on the spot. See what happens. It'll be really interesting. I'm in no way like anti, you know, I'm not anti people. So like I like people get like really into being like anti cop and stuff and like I'm, it's acts, it's people's actions. Like nobody has control over what's going on right now. Even cops. Even you know what? That's a great topic to lead into. Let's lead into this topic. This is a great way. This is a great way to dip our toes. We're gonna dip our toes into something more meaningful than the way that we woke up this morning. Hey guys, thanks for coming in. For sure, y'all being here. Okay, so like the last stream, like not only did I run out of time, but my internet connection also was failing all over the place, and I'm not sure why. It should be better now. Yeah. Yeah, so police, so if you don't know the situation with police, so like the history of police, so in the United States, the police started out as what do they call them? They actually, I don't think it was constable. It would have been let's see. It was, I mean, it's the sheriff's department is the closest function to actual actual police, like who would enforce, you know, like if you need, I mean, you have to have in the nation state model, you have to have enforcement of law, and so somebody has to do it, you know. Uh, but it was a lot less busy back then. I'll tell you that much. They didn't have quite the same, they didn't need quite the same depth of headspace for uselessness that is required of them now to navigate. Like a police officer's job. I don't know if you guys know any cops, but like police officers everywhere in the United States are fucking feeling pressure just like everybody else. Like they're fucking getting fucking squeezed. Everybody is. Yeah, sorry. I got my. How is that? Is that better? I got my fan on. The police departments have basically watched like like all the cops I know that are, you know, like cops I know that went into, were almost to retirement age, have all retired in the past decade. You know what I mean? Like they're done. They went to early retirement or and got other jobs. You know what I mean? And they got like new generation. The new generation is like fitting in over everywhere in the United States right now, relatively to like the old police forces. Okay, so like especially if you're LEO watching this and shit, like this is, I'm sure that you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the well, it's not. I mean, yeah, but everybody is. Like it's not fair. It's not. It's not honest to just, if you blame cops, it's not honest of the entire situation, right? Because everybody or like blaming soldiers for the war is not an honest situation, right? Blaming cops for the situation with the police state is not an honest situation. Like, yeah, they are the front, front line. Yeah, there's been huge exoduses everywhere because and the reason why is because the rate of institutional change has increased more than ever before because they're getting ready for all this shit going on, the changeover in the loss of the United States. So they have to they can't go from constitutional government to just boom, now you're all slaves. That's not going to work. So they have to do it gradually, but they can't do it too gradually or else the timing doesn't line up. So everybody's been feeling this heat for I don't know, I'm sure for a long time. I mean, I know it's been that way at least since post 9/11. I was too young to I didn't know any cops when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Yeah. So HR 666. House Resolution 6666. Ominous name there. That's about basically what House Resolution and COVID what changed legally is that during 9/11 you had DHS, and DHS did TSA and fucking all of the government grant programs to get all the police departments and sheriff departments on the government tip. Now it's really shitty too because it's I don't know how it is now. I'd imagine they expanded it by now to where everybody's getting everybody's on the drip, right? But how it started was a lottery. So what you would do is you would get a compliance checklist of how you would alter your department. No, this isn't. Well, 1033 is a part of 1030. So Drew's saying 1033 program, which a lot of people are familiar with. That's the acquisition program, but the 1033 program is limited in scope of this. It's not. It's a subset of this. So the bigger what you have to understand is that we got to back up. The police departments started in the United States as a model off of Britain. They were separate from the sheriff's model, which was on the interior of the colonies and the states. And by the way, in the colonies, they practiced originally before they got started to do fiat currency and shit. They tried to do weird experiments with communism and shit like that, early communism, and they didn't fucking work. Surprise, surprise. Communism doesn't work too well if you don't have fucking billions of dollars being poured down a funnel into your brain to make you think that it works. Okay, yeah. So the early police, 1830s, you start getting on the East Coast, you start getting at the factory, you get early police forces, but they're entirely privatized. No connection to the government whatsoever. They're guarding the factories because what was happening was that they were doing with the railroad, with JP Morgan and Rockefeller fucking buying and consolidating everything and linking it. They were doing the railroad was horizontal integration, where they bought a little bit of everything everywhere. So all your transportation and infrastructure and shit, they started building infrastructure. Then post 9/11, that would be your vertical integration, where all the different steps get lined up, all the different layers get stacked, and that's the part post 9/11 where you get the defeat of the balance of power that's inherent in the Constitution. That's what happened recently. Yeah, of course, Carnegie. Yeah. Morgan, Carnegie, yeah, all of them. Shifts. So, the police model was very small and on the East Coast originally, and then they just slowly expanded, and you had a giant jump in the Civil War, where the model got sent out to everywhere, and it was a shoo-in, opportunity to expand it for who benefits for it being expanded, but it was also seen by the what would have been the Union Army, or the Union enforcement force, the unions, that that this was like a good way to keep the South under control. You know what I mean? You put the police departments in everywhere, and then it's like everybody's on the same page. You know what I mean? It's like the same approximate model, right? And then what happened? And then what happened was like once you get the huge expansion after World War II of privatization through like NGOs and I mean nonprofits and shit. That's all in the tax code from the original. That's all from the original income tax. It's like where you get like tax exemption and shit. But like the independent executive agencies and expansion of NGOs and shit like that. That's an FFRDCs. That's all post World War II. When they started doing that, then the police started to get onto like the pseudo government, which would be like the private entity. And the way that works, so I'm in Missouri, right? There's like the biggest cities in Missouri are, you got St. Louis on the East Coast, Kansas City on the west east border, Kansas City on the west border, and then you got like Columbia, Missouri, right in the middle, right? So like Columbia, for example, is like a progressive town. It's not really like an industrial town or anything like KC was when it started. Well, so KC was actually it used to be called like the gateway to the west because it was like the furthest point that you would go before it went into like wild boy territory where it was just like no holds barred. Like you just fucking so like all the interstate highways are built on old Indian trails, like Native American trails who moved a lot. Like they didn't stay in like one spot. Like they were basically nomadic. And the Indian trails were all there from like ancient animals, like mass animal migrations through the United States. You know what I mean? And then that's where, and then they line those up with what would be the best grid. And then if you didn't know this, like all of your east-west highways are all, even numbers. And all of your north-south highways are all odd numbers. So like I-95 runs up the East Coast and like I-70 runs all through the middle, et cetera, et cetera. That's like Eisenhower's highway system. But when like for Columbia, Missouri, let's say, Columbia has a city council, right? So they have like the city council money and model, and municipalities do have somewhat of a, they do have somewhat of a option of how they set up, but it's really limited. Like nowadays, it's like everything's in the bag, so they're not going to be like independent unless they're doing everything for themselves, which is kind of the point of this whole, like what I'm trying to get, the message I'm trying to get through to American people is that like you can't be free unless you're independent, and you don't have any means for independence. But on the municipal level, the city councils will interface with like whatever the most powerful businesses are, So the general public views this as like this is getting involved in the community, like there's nothing wrong with it because it's like the city council and whoever's there. Like if there's a business there, then it's like the people that are live in the city work there. But what they're not accounting for is that like what happens is you get strategic emplacement of like huge corporations, just like a branch of it, or like a depot or something, So you get like Pepsi, like in Colombia, it's like Pepsi Cola and like shit like that. They have like a distribution plant there, and then so like because they hire from the population, the local population, and they're considered like representative of the population, but all of their staff is like national or international, so they bring in staff, and then those are the motherfuckers, like all the president of the Pepsi Cola in that city ends up getting on the municipality board, right, for like the city council or whatever. And this is how it works. And then the police department draws its funding directly through like all of its paychecks go through the city, but they're going through like city council and shit. So like the city council is being like, and the city councils don't stand a fucking chance because it's like, if you've got like somebody pulling out a fucking Pepsi fucking business card and like, I'm the Pepsi expert, like here's some documents unrelated to food and beverage at fucking all, but I'm gonna give you guidance on how to manage your population. And then the fucking, like the locals that are in whatever city it is are just like, like I fucking wash my baby in Pepsi. Like, this is fucking, you know, I better listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You know, and this is how, oh shit. And this is how it goes. And this is how it went to get the police departments, like, seated, right? Where they're like, you know, they're used to like getting like bullshit orders and stuff. And they're like, oh, fuck, here we go. Okay. And then shit changes, right? It started to get really rapid, and it's going to get even more rapid because of the NIMS program. So NIMS is like federal government. So once they got the Fed, once that was like they were using the private business model to seed into populations through the municipalities. Like that would be like 1950s through the 1990s is when that occurred. It's a long process, right? They also did schools, right? So this is the exact same thing that happened with schools. So if you go to like, you know, any school board, it's gonna have a board that's composed of all the largest businesses that are in the jurisdiction, right? Yeah, we're gonna get back into there. So NIMS is like in as in, you know, can you hear me? Did I lose you? National Incident Management System in November, you know, NIMS. All right, so the NIMS program is under DHS, and that got released, you know, 9/11. Like they pretty much rolled it out immediately, and then you get like under DHS, you get DHS offices in all major cities. So every major city has a DHS office that is pulling like fucking all kinds of surveillance on everybody. I'm sure. I would imagine that the highway cameras through the DOT are being fed to DHS as well. You know, like that's probably they say that's not what it's for. So the highway cameras that are out here, like on like I have like I'm in Missouri, so I have I-70, right? We've got highway cameras that are for DOT, and they're supposed to be online so you can view them. And sometimes they are, but sometimes they aren't at all. And you know, when they put them in, there's public comment on record of like people that live here being like, well, what the fuck? Like, we don't really want cameras, you know? And then their legal excuse is that we want to be able to see weather conditions on the road so we can know if there's like a problem and we need to go clear it. You know what I mean? Which is good enough if it's true. Like, if it's true, that's good enough. But if it's fucking not true, then it's not fucking good enough. Get that shit the fuck out of here. Well, so people are like, okay, they're kind of smart, but they didn't really, you know, these motherfuckers aren't going to give up. So the people that would complain in each state, and this happened in every state. So like I've seen this shit from Missouri. I'm sure it's the same in every fucking state. People here in Missouri, when they started putting in the highway cameras after 9/11, were fucking like, basically because everybody's scared to talk about world government, even though that's one that's on their fucking mind, but everybody's like being timid, so they don't say anything. So then they're just like, well, we're kind of, you know, we don't want an encroachment on our privacy, you know? And because they didn't want to just like say what the fuck was on their mind, then, you know, they're like, oh, well, we'll just keep them low res. You know, we'll install some low res cameras that can't see face. You know what I mean? That's what they said. Well, the problem with that is that when they put this shit in was in the early 2000s, and now because of the spending cycle, you know, for federal government, like if you work in federal government, I'm sure you know that there's like, you know, you get like spendex where it's like, you know, the end of the fiscal and you just have to fucking burn all your money, like buy shit or you lose it out of your budget. Well, that's the same here for like DOT and shit, you know? So it's like they automatically set it up so that they could give a bullshit excuse for like, we're going to put in a low resolution camera. And then they put in like new cameras where they complained how they weren't fucking high resolution enough to see shit. You know what I mean? Because they said like, well, the commercial cameras now on the market are way superior to the ones that we installed. And these are just like ancient cameras. Like, we have to get modern cameras or we can't possibly see the snow on the road, you know? And they just started putting in fucking high definition cameras. Yeah, it's just a slow dagger. That's all this is. This is a slow dagger and a net. And like, they had the net cast over and it was kind of loose. And now they're like tightening up and they're bringing the dagger in and they're telling everybody they're not going to stab them. Well, they're going to fucking stab you. You know, surprise. So anyway, so the NIMS program rolled out from the federal side after 9/11 under DHS authority, which is an executive independent agency, which is not elected. So you have a non-elected government completely recomposing the economic structure of the United States. And the way that they did that The way they started to do that was with the NIMS program, which is like a lottery for anybody that wants a piece. But they started off soliciting police departments and sheriff's departments. What they do to become NIMS compliant is like a big ass list of the way that they need to restructure their department. The most key element in there is like the ICS program, which is Incident Command System. ICS has a bunch of like, you know, it's like it's sold as like this is derived from the military model to manage personnel, which is true, but that's what everybody focuses on. Like all the departments are like, oh shit, this is high speed, like we can more efficiently, you know, run our guys in any kind of emergency, you know what I mean? But they could have just done that them fucking selves, right? Like what? Like there's no rule against you just not being retarded and just fucking like, oh, here's a better idea. Like you don't need to fucking lose all your autonomy to just do what is logical. Shit. So yeah, ICS came from 9/11. Yeah, that's correct. So they got NIMS in, and then what happened was like you didn't even get, if you were NIMS compliant, you would send in your packet for your department, and you'd have like the little check boxes, you know, like, yeah, we did this, and you'd sign off with whoever your chief organizational officer was, and you'd say we are certified NIMS compliant. Now you get a little fucking, you know, little fucking merit badge for your department. It's like, we're NIMS. Yay, we're NIMS compliant, right? We're ready to battle terrorism. You know? But they get NIMS compliant, they're ICS compliant. Well, the way that ICSs work, like I told you that ICS is like it's like a military composition of like chain of command, right? Well, along with that is like, duh, like who's at the top of the chain of command? It's not the municipality anymore. It's not the department. It's fucking federal government. So like, whoops, like you didn't see that one coming, did you? So this is, you guys, this is every department in the United States is like on it now. You know what I mean? Like there's, I was doing search and rescue in a fucking rural ass county in fucking Utah, and they were on it. You know, everybody's on it. Yeah, they have fucking cameras everywhere. So they're most likely, those are DOT cameras, and their legal authority for the state. You know, it's gonna say something in your state law that your senators passed. It's like something like, it's gonna be all about DOT, and there's gonna be some little fucking vague ass clause that could mean fucking anything. That's gonna be like, you know, this can be used for emergency situations or whatever, or like national security. And then you're gonna have a fucking DHS office in your city, and I don't know this because it's like, I'm not, you know, obviously I'm not DHS, and I'm not like walking around drinking a cup of coffee in DHS just checking out everything, but they are very likely getting feeds from all these fucking cameras all the time. And if they're not, it doesn't matter because they can just walk their ass down there and just fucking demand it, and they're just gonna hand it right over, you know. So it doesn't even matter. Like if they're not getting live feed, they can get it, the feed will be compliant, not only because they're all dumb and think that there's just like a constant fucking like Muslim hiding behind their toilet seat gonna blow them up, but because they're like, you know, bound to by law because they're part of the NIMS program. You see what I'm saying? Is this part of that? Let's see. Thomas Parks, I think this is part of that. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So Jeff, I mean, obviously, like you gotta look at it like this, right? If Epstein got killed in prison, then like that's, I mean, how, like, it's not like we're talking about some guy that got popped for like stealing a pack of bubble gum here. You know, we're talking about like the most fucking high profile case in fucking a long time. You know, like getting apprehended and arrested. What the fuck is going on? It just fucking pops up for no reason. Okay, so I'm gonna this is what we're gonna do so that we can get some I'm gonna try to get these streams more compact, you know. So we'll finish this topic and then I'll start a new stream and I'll name it something else. That way when people are, because right now they're just like it's just like continuous fucking streaming consciousness. Yeah, we will do the 9/11 mule, I promise. Like if my phone dies, we'll figure it out. I do have to. I am gonna have to charge it because I'm an idiot. I didn't charge it before I started this, so I have to bring out a power cord. There's no situation that's appropriate for a criminal that's as high profile as Epstein in the sociosphere to just like not have somebody monitoring him. With, you know, like it's just ridiculous. It's impossible. There's no way that he could get. You know, like they just fucking like. I guarantee that they just closed down the. They closed down whatever wing he was in or prison all the way out to the fucking parking garage and then fucking like moved him out and just fucking took him out of there. And then nobody saw it. Like nobody was there and they all had to sign fucking NDAs. That's what happened. You know, he's not dead. They moved him out. The pictures on TMZ are fucking fake. They just fucking staged pictures. He's not fucking dead. The United States is right now is that there's like literally like people fucking moving people around and shit. We just finished that topic of Jeff Epstein on the end of the expansion, like how the municipalities got seated and shit. And keep in mind, like nobody has any idea of this. So like the sheriff department and police departments, like when I was working at sheriff's department, they had no fucking clue. Like if I would have said this to them, they would have been like, "Are you an Arab terrorist?" You know what I mean? Like they have no idea at all. Like they can't even comprehend or like read the fucking shit that they're saying to identify the clear, you know, purpose of what this is when you read it. Like you can't miss it other than through being brainwashed. That's the only way, which is exactly what's happening in the United States, and that's how they got away with it. Okay, I just finished Jeff Epstein and NIMS, and we're gonna move on to the next topic. We're just gonna knock out the mural, and then I've got some other topics too. But I'm gonna start a new stream. Give me like 10 minutes, okay? And we'll start the next stream. Thank you guys. I love you.